Hey folks, that's the camera, not that one, that one. I got stream camera there, regular stream camera on Twitch. That's my YouTube camera. So, how you doing YouTube, folks? What's up? It's that time of the month, not that time of the month. It's Q&A time of the month. This is going great. How's everyone doing? I know we got some folks live here. How are you all doing today? Nemesis, Secret, Verax, Wasteless Python. How y'all doing? How's my ceiling? Still falling apart? Oh, here, let me grab it actually. If you're talking about this thing that fell, yeah, I'm not gonna bother putting it back up. So this was stuck to the ceiling using about 1 million of these. You're probably getting a lot of reverb right now. They're command strips. They're meant to not damage the paint. I can't reach. Yeah. So I had this one on the ceiling right above me. I got a bunch of these around on different walls, but I had one on the ceiling. A lot of the things themselves, the acoustic panels are coming off, or have come off as the temperature changed from winter to summer. But then this thing itself fell. And I'm probably not going to bother putting it back up. It's ideal to have there for, to reduce echo. A lot of people see those things and they think it's for soundproofing. It's not for soundproofing. It is for acoustic treatment. And you ever listen to some people's videos or streams and it sounds really like echoey or reverby? That's why we need acoustic treatment, to kill those echoes, to create a cleaner input, to not make it sound like we're speaking from a cathedral. Which isn't always a bad thing, but yeah. Wasteless Python, cheers, buddy. But yeah, I'm not bothering putting it back up because I imagine it's just going to fall again. So I'm going to put more up along the walls to compensate instead. And should be fine. So I could aggressively anchor it to the wall with screws, yeah, or other things. But I'm thinking about in the future resale. I figure whenever we're going to be showing the place, I'll, probably not for 5-10 years, but when we do eventually sell, I'm probably going to have to take down everything to show the place, because I imagine if people walk in and they see this in the master bedroom, they're probably not going to be encouraged to buy the place. So, consequently, if I have to take it all down and there's holes in the wall everywhere from all the various screws and nails and stuff, just trying to think what would be optimal for reselling in the future. Secret saying, but if you were speaking from a cathedral, then there could be a Diablo in the basement, yeah? We got a sump pump in the basement, but the door actually got locked at some point. It's under the staircase, under our communal staircase. I'm in a condo. There's this little room. It's like a little hobbit hole room. It's about 4 feet high. This tiny little door. You bend down, you open it, and you can see the sump pump working. And for whatever reason, there's a lock on this door. And there shouldn't be a lock on this door because we need access to that room, if you can call it a room, to see if it's flooding. Because if it's flooding, that means the sump pump isn't working, and we need to call someone immediately before bad things happen. So I've been making a point to check it every week to make sure. And like last week or something, click, 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 click. Why is this locked? Who would have locked this? Who even has the key to this? We had a condo meeting yesterday, thankfully. And no one has a key, apparently. Whoever had the key, whatever administrator from like 10 years ago died, and all of his secrets were buried with him. So thankfully someone had a bobby pin and rolled a 20 on their lockpick check and managed to pop it open. It's one of those locks that it's in the door handle, and so if on the inside you turn the lock and then you close it, it's just locked. You don't need a key to lock it. Very well designed. Yeah. Now I'm asking, does Twitch only get a second-rate cam? So I got an upgraded camera a few months ago. Basically, before that, anytime I would swap from recording on Twitch or streaming on Twitch to recording on YouTube, I'd be unplugging, replugging, unplugging, replugging, unplugging, replugging the webcam from laptop to PC, from laptop to PC, from laptop to PC. Now I got PC webcam, always in the PC, laptop webcam, always in the laptop. Also, on Twitch, my camera is smaller anyway, so on YouTube, I'm in bigger view, so we actually benefit more from having the better webcam. But, I mean, they're both still webcams. This is a Logitech Brio. It's basically the kind of top-of-the-line webcam. Any further upgrades beyond that, and you might as well start getting mirrorless or DSLR cameras and get them to act like a webcam. This is a Logitech 922, 920, one of those. The 92 some odd series, 930? I don't know. That's like, it's a really robust webcam. It's what I would encourage anyone to get, really. For streaming, especially like if you're going to be in a, not taking up a full screen, it more than delivers, I think, even for like just regular webcam purposes. When they go on special in the US, you can get them for like $50 or like $75 or something. It's a steal. So we got a bunch of Q&A questions that people have asked. We're going to get to those, but we're also going to be reading the live stream. So if any questions are asked live, we'll answer those as well. And we'll be streaming until about 6 o'clock, so about an hour total, unless all the questions are done. Then we'll close it out when we close it out. Wasteless Python saying, I mean, I would be encouraged to buy if I saw the setup like that. Oh, really? Well, I guess if you were intending to keep it as an office and do recordings, sure. But if you want to convert it back to a bedroom, yeah. So, in the meantime here, let's take a look at some of the questions asked on Patreon. Starting with this one from Tepid Turtle. In Diablo 3, do you have favorite builds based purely on fun factor? I would be interested in your opinions in a tier ranks just on the fun side of things based on your opinions. Perhaps even a top 5 versus bottom 5, like builds that make you chuckle at the top versus builds that require so much technical attention that you can't divide your attention to even enjoy the imagery of the environment. Yeah, so fun is a very subjective thing, but technical difficulty, I would argue, is not. There are definitely builds that are far more mindless or lazy, and builds that are really require 100% of your attention. Especially builds that require precise timings and stuff. To play a bazooka wizard properly, for instance, requires basically 100% of your attention. Even like comparing a Hoda Rhykker barb versus an IK Hoda barb. Again, it's hard mode to easy mode. Rhykker being the more difficult one, IK being basically just playing smack the Matamut. What is it? Those arcade games when you whack-a-mole. You know that arcade game where you whack a mole? What's it called? Yeah. But like based on fun, for me there's a lot of overlap between fun builds and powerful builds, in that I don't know that there are any builds that I really like that are weak builds, like that are kind of just for the lulz. That said, I don't like a build just because, or I don't find a build fun just because it's strong. I don't know that there's any Necromancer build that I find fun anymore. None of the top ones, at least. Bazooka Wizard I don't find fun. But like Multi-Shot Demon Hunter I find really fun. Shadow Impale as well is fun. Wave of Light Monk is fun. I even really liked Hoda Raycore. I found that fun. Captain America's pretty fun. So for me, part of fun is like killing things easily. And in a satisfying way. I also find the chicken dock fun because you get to run around as a chicken. Like, I guess, based purely on fun factor, I would say chicken dock just because it's still decently powerful, especially for speedrunning. I guess similarly with Explosive Blast Wizard, but yeah, Witch Doctor, Chicken Dock probably like wins in just raw fun because you turn into a chicken and you run around. Like, it's just silly. It's fun. But yeah, there's definitely builds that require more technical attention than others. And when I stream, I'd rather be playing a less attention grabby kind of build so that I can still be paying attention to chat while playing. The ultimate lazy build was Ye Olden Marauder. In the past, the way Marauder worked, you would lay your sentries and they would shoot on their own. And you can just be like standing off to the side, reading Twitch chat while my sentries did all the damage. It made for a pretty boring playstyle, but it worked it for a streamer. The changes they made to make it more active, I think was for the best for making the build more fun. Let's see what people in live chat are saying. Mega Joe, how you doing? Wasteless Python saying Hoda Raycore is my new main build. It's a great one. Oh yeah. Turkanil, how you doing? Thorns Crusader is a favorite of mine, but at lower torment levels, it's amusing to watch things explode around you without doing anything. Yeah, that's the thing about Thorns. Like, the spirit of a Thorns build, in my opinion, should be you don't do anything, and monsters attack you and die. It comes from the whole Iron Maiden thing in Diablo 2. That it's people. So the reason it comes from Iron Maiden, an Iron Maiden is a torture device. It's basically a standing coffin with spikes inside. You would put someone inside and you would close the door on them, and the spikes would be right up against them. And so if they were to struggle to get out, they'd be impaling themselves on spikes. So it's a torture method where the more you struggle, the more you hurt. So bringing that into a video game, it was like, okay, well, the monsters fighting against you, by fighting you, they're hurting themselves. That, to me, is the spirit of a Thorns build. It's not, when you attack, apply X amount of your Thorns damage. Like, at that point, it's just, you might as well call it, like, Ghost damage, or any other name other than Thorns. It's completely lost the spirit of Thorns. Not to say that this makes me dislike Thorns build. Like, I still think that Thorns builds are interesting from a mechanical perspective. It's something different. We're stacking a different kind of damage. I like that we are gearing differently, because in Diablo, we're largely gearing the same, regardless of what build. We're still going crit chance and crit damage in 95% of builds. Crit chance, crit damage, elemental damage, Thorns is like the one kind of build where your crit chance, crit damage doesn't matter. Your raw damage doesn't matter. Your sheet damage doesn't matter. So mechanically, it's interesting to me, even if it's lost the heart and the flavor to me of what makes a Thorns build. Any builds you particularly hate or despise? Yeah, Bazooka Wizard I really don't like. I feel like I gotta pull up my tier list or something to just jostle the old memory. I'm not really fond of necro builds. Most of them, I would say. Just like playing around that window, I don't know. It doesn't make for very entertaining play. Like, at some point I liked it, sort of, and I think I just kind of liked the power side of it, but from gameplay. I wasn't crazy about it. I think I disliked Firebirds. Yeah, I don't like the Firebirds mechanic. I find that's very unfun. What else? I generally am not very. Hate is too strong a word, but I don't really like the current Marauder or Natalia playstyles. Natalia isn't as bad, but the Marauder of like lay down your sentries when you change level, lay down your sentries again. I don't hate it, but like I like the Demon Hunter class. It's one of my favorite classes. But like those two sets, forget about it. I'm not interested. It's all Shadow set and Unhallowed Essence set for me. Oh man, I hated the, well, again, hate's a strong word, but I really didn't like the Generator Monk build, with the Shenlong window. The main reason I didn't like it was actually for how squishy it was, I think. What else? Yeah, I don't know, that's a good number of builds I don't like, I guess. Corey saying, what do you want Blizzard to announce most for Diablo at BlizzCon this year? Diablo 4, or Diablo next. Whether they call it Diablo 4 or whatever, the next major PC Diablo project, I'd really want them to announce that. The first holy shotgun. Oh yeah, Christopher. Right, Turkanil? Yeah. Yeah. Secret saying, for me, the Play Your Way build with Stalgart's Decimator really entertained me. Is that the one with the axes flying out? I made a frenzy build for fun that I use with Sasha knives to just throw stuff everywhere, but it's not a push build. Yeah, nice. Yeah, Turkanil. Yeah, if I remember correctly, yeah, old Firebird at some point was more fun. Oh, yes, Secret, I hated LON Fana Knives. Oh, man. Specifically the Shimizu variant. So, it was just such a, I mean, it's been so long since I played it, I kind of forget exactly what I hated about it, but the Demon Hunter Legacy of Nightmares Fan of Knives build using Shimizu Haori, where you had to keep your health within a certain, like, low threshold to stay within the damage buff window of the Shimizu. Man. That was, like, a super, super technically challenging build. Mega Joe saying, on Necro, I love the Bonacane because it reminds me of the old D2 Hurricane build on Druid, but it's so weak on Necro. Man, my favorite Necro build was Bone Storm. When it first came out, it was not the most powerful, but it was a very powerful Necro build. I loved it. It was so fun. And then they nerfed it while they fixed a bug that was causing it to be powerful. I don't know why they didn't just let the bug go through, like, just say it's a feature, not a bug. It wasn't overpowered. It wasn't even the strongest Necro build. I'm still butthurt over that. That was my favorite Necro build of all time. And the reason was, so it all was about this gem called Mirane, Teardrop of the Star Weaver or something like that. Star Drop of the Tear Weaver, Tear Star of the Draw Weaver. That would, like, occasionally make zaps come down from heaven. And those zaps would get buffed by your Bone Storm damage, and there was some like bug that was making it trigger too often. But it was so cool because we were using a legendary gem that we would otherwise never use. Now that they fix it, again, no one uses Marinade. There's no point. It doesn't do anything good. But for that build, it was useful, and I loved that. And they had to go and fix the bug. So salty right now. Yeah. Diablo 4 next. Diablo returns again. Corey Willis asking, did that Warhammer ARPG turn out to be any good? Warhammer, the 40k one, or Chaos Bane, the regular Warhammer? I don't hear good things about either. I never had a chance to keep playing Chaos Bane, the most recent one, to see how the endgame was. I enjoyed the campaign. It wasn't a brilliant game. It wasn't like a game you're going to remember in 20 years from now, but it was fun. But following the community, it seems that like they really didn't follow through on like end game support or making the end game fun enough. That seems to be the general sentiment. Doesn't feel finished, or I don't know what. So the devs are also apparently like kind of quiet. On the other side of things, Warhammer 40k Inquisitor Martyr, kind of similar thing. I was having fun with it at the start. I never got to really play the end game. But they've been actively working on it. They just released an expansion last week. And they apparently did like some complete overhaul patch where they made the game faster paced and really tried to address a lot of the concerns. And I've heard more recent good things about that from people who have gone back or kept playing it. I haven't had a chance to, but I would like to revisit it. Wasteless saying, have you ever tried a Frenzy Thorns bar build? If so, what is your opinion on the build? I tried it way back when it was more viable. It was still relatively weak. If you go back and look at my old tier lists from previous seasons, at some point it was in the F tier. And that's the highest it ever reached for me. It was an okay build, but it just... other builds kept getting buffed, and that build never got buffed, so it just fell by the wayside. Can you still run it? Yeah. Can you still get to like maybe GR 90 or higher? Probably. Are you going to push GR 100 plus? I doubt it. Realistically, I mean, maybe in like the hands of like the players who can play this 8 hours a day every day and farm 1,000,000 Paragon, maybe they can push crazy high, or not crazy high. Maybe they can push above 100, maybe 110 with it, but it's just so far outclassed by builds that are easier to gear for and easier to play. Even among barbarians. The Axe NATO build for barbs, nice. Turkinol saying, was that the Necro plus Demon Hunter bug or a different one? No. It was so it was a completely, you can play it as a solo build. It didn't require anything. It wasn't an exploit or anything. So what you're referring to is, from what I recall, there was it was the Necromancer's Aura of Frailty, which outright kills something when it drops below a certain health threshold. And then there's a Valley of Death rune on Mark for Death, I believe, for the Demon Hunter, that spreads X% of the damage around to all the enemies. And what would happen was, when an enemy would die from Aura of Frailty, the way the game would kill that enemy wouldn't be by just saying it's dead, it would be by just dealing infinity damage to it, or whatever the game's maximum biggest number can calculate, however many like quintillion, sextillion damage or whatever. And so Valley of Death was catching that number and spreading that around. So you would effectively be able to do like a GR 150 as long as you can kill, like you would build up a huge density of enemies. You just had to survive long enough to kill one enemy, and then everything would die because everything would take infinity damage. That was an unintended interaction. They had to fix that, and they rightfully fixed that. But no, the one I'm talking about, it was simply that one gem was triggering more often than it should. It wasn't OP at all. The Necro Demon Hunter bug was absolutely overpowered. Absolutely overpowered. This wasn't. All right, let's get on to our second question here from Patreon, from Magnus Frey. Cheers, Magnus. Are you planning to continue the lore series? I am. Or maybe to start a completely new one on Path of Exile, for example. That's interesting. I hadn't thought about PoE, doing a PoE lore series, but that could be interesting. Maybe especially for when they announce PoE 4.0 in November. Maybe that's something I can start visiting then. But I definitely do want to keep the lore series going for Diablo. I know it's been like almost 10 months now or something crazy. And I keep saying soon, soon, soon. It's a soon TM. It's a Blizzard soon. Just this week, I was thinking, okay, do I have the bandwidth to make the next episode this week? And I'm like, no, I gotta start prepping videos for the new season. So unfortunately, it's getting pushed back again. but the intent is there, the desire is there, and I do encourage you to keep asking about it, because seeing how much people want it is motivating for me to getting around to actually doing it. Christopher asking, what do you think that Blizzard Activision needs to do to save their brands? Is it we as fans that demand too much, or the company changed too much? Is it we the fans demand too much? I don't think it's that. There are brands that manage to stick around for years and years and years that aren't regarded as being in the gutter, right? Or needing saving, right? So, yes, fan expectations can certainly be high. There's no denying that. But and you can never make everyone happy. But I certainly think it's possible to make enough people happy such that the brand is still held in high regard. What do you think they need to do to save their brands? I mean, you can argue that Diablo is a brand that needs saving. What other of their brands need saving? Does World of Warcraft need saving? Arguably right now it's not in being painted in the best of lights, but I feel like WoW is just one, expansion away from being saved. It seems that's been the historic trend with WoW, kind of like one bad expansion, one good expansion, one bad, one good, and it seems whenever that good expansion hits, the general sentiment turns positive again. Of course, there's always going to be the people that are just being curmudgeons and grognards and like, well, I mean, it's not like the way it was in the past and whatever. But the brand has survived all these years. Warcraft, World of Warcraft, it still has what? Like, I don't know how many million subs it has these days. 8, 6. It's still one of the, it's still hitting the charts as one of the top 10 highest grossing PC games. So, you can argue well, maybe the game is doing well, but the brand image isn't. Yeah, you can argue that. But again, it does largely feel like it's just one expansion away from having more fans fighting for it, having more fans defending the game. I think in the case of Diablo, we're one good game away from that. Diablo Immortal is not that solution. Even an expansion for Diablo 3 wouldn't do it. Reaper of Souls should have done it. It didn't. Many people already wrote off Diablo 3. A lot of people never bothered even trying Reaper of Souls, despite it vastly, tremendously improving the game. I really think for the Diablo brand, we're one good game away from... Let's put it this way. We're one game away from saving the brand or killing it. If Diablo 4 is a flop, the Diablo brand is probably dead. Unfortunately. StarCraft as a brand, it's not held as in high regard as it was in StarCraft 1. StarCraft 2, again, just because it's impossible to make everyone happy. StarCraft 2, I still think, was overall well received and was still held as the standard for the RTS. No other RTS has come up to replace it. When you think about RTS today, StarCraft 2 is probably still the biggest name. The genre itself is just not popular anymore. But, I don't think StarCraft needs saving as a brand. I don't think it's being held in low regard. but it's more just that it's not relevant in this day and age. And so I think StarCraft is one good game away from being relevant again, and it might have to be a non-RTS game for the StarCraft brand to become popular and relevant again. But I still think that there's a certain respect towards it, even if you're not a StarCraft player, or even if you're not still a StarCraft player. That's my perception, at least. Hearthstone, I'm not really on the beat of Hearthstone, and I never really got into Hearthstone. It's definitely one of the bigger names in that genre, if not the biggest name or the second biggest name, but I don't know enough about that genre or that brand to really comment on that. Heroes of the Storm isn't even really a brand. It's just done. There's not going to be a new Heroes of the Storm game. They're not going to continue stuff in that setting, I don't imagine. Well, I mean, I guess in theory they can just sort of revitalize it as a battle royale or something, reimagine it, but it's Heroes of the Storm isn't really a brand. It's it's the cutting room floor of all the other brands, if you will. It's Blizzard's brand, if you will. Overwatch, I don't think needs saving either. I don't think Overwatch got bad. It just, the hype died down. It's still a popular game. It still makes money. It also was one of the top grossing PC games in the last 6 months. I think another good release from Overwatch can bring things back to peak popularity. And I think we touched upon all the Blizzard brands. As for Activision games, I don't know. I was never a fan of Activision games and never got into Call of Duty stuff. I don't think Call of Duty is dying. I also don't know the appeal of Call of Duty. I don't know the audience that likes that kind of game and buys it every year. The same game basically every year. I feel Activision kind of knows what they're doing with Call of Duty from what I've seen. They've found their audience and they cater to it. Alright, taking a look at chat again here. Nemesis saying, according to the 2-year World of Warcraft cycle, there should be a new WoW expansion pack announced this year. Which is crazy because it just feels like there's going to be so much announced at BlizzCon this year. By their regular timeline, there should be a new WoW expansion revealed. There should be Diablo 4 revealed. There should be Overwatch 2 revealed. What's going to take center stage? There's generally one, major thing and then some smaller things. And when it's a WoW expansion, the WoW expansion is generally the major thing. It just kind of feels weird to, have one BlizzCon with basically no major announcement, and then another BlizzCon with, 1 million. And then it's well, what are we going to announce next BlizzCon? Nothing again? To be fair, Blizzard is currently in an unprecedented period of game development, of spinning up different ideas, so maybe they're just going to have more games going forward. Nem saying, genre mixer, StarCraft ARPG versus Diablo RTS. Man, if there's one surefire way to kill off Diablo, it's to make a Diablo RTS. Not that I wouldn't like it, but the RTS genre, as we said, it's not a popular genre. It's not going to make as much money as Diablo 3, and Blizzard's not going to be bothered to put any more money into Diablo from that point ever on. They don't even have plans for auto chess mode for Heroes of the Storm. Did they came out and said that they're not working on an auto chess game? Huh. Turkinol saying, I still want to see a StarCraft-based shooter, but I also enjoyed CNC Renegade. I really enjoyed the StarCraft universe. Growing up, I loved the lore of StarCraft, that whole sci-fi setting that Blizzard made. I'd be really cool with exploring it in different ways. Cheers, Christopher. Corey Willis wants Diablo 4 and a Diablo version of WoW. Yeah, looking forward to seeing that BlizzCon schedule and guessing what they could be hiding. Gotcha, Secret. Okay, going on to our next question here from Saber Wolfie. In a recent video, you mentioned that Lost Ark was touted to be the next generation of ARPGs. It will be interesting to see where GGG plans to go with their upcoming announcement of PoE 4.0. What are some of the features you expect D4 to have to redefine the genre? Really good questions. About Lost Ark, some people were saying that Lost Ark has kind of gone the pay-to-win route. So it's kind of difficult to follow what's going on with Lost Ark because it's all in like Korean and stuff, but it's seeming like Lost Ark has sort of flopped might be a strong word, but it's kind of run out of steam, and now they're like just making it pay to win. They're like, Lost Ark is really fun like during the leveling process, but once you hit endgame, it becomes really grindy, and so seems that Lost Ark didn't turn out to be the be-all, end-all. That end-all, be-all, whatever. That some people were hoping it would be. I'm definitely interested to see what GGG brings to the plate with PoE 4.0. I imagine at the very least they're like redoing the game engine. It's going to be a complete graphics overhaul. But beyond that, I do hope that it's not just like current PoE plus a new league plus graphics overhaul. I feel like to really be a next-gen ARPG, they're going to have to do something in addition to that, something big. And so that's the reason that I can't really... There's nothing that I expect Diablo 4 to really have. Because anything that I could really guess, and anything that I could like be reasonably confident in guessing that Diablo 4 would have, would basically mean that... sorry, one second. Okay. Yeah, sorry. I got family stuff going on. I have to be checking my messages. Yeah, sorry. So what was I saying? I was saying... yeah, so to me, like... You don't know what the next evolution is until you see it, kind of thing. There's things that I think will work, or that I would maybe like to see, but I think if Diablo 4 is anything expected, that like if Diablo 4 comes out and it's like we can say that like everything about it is something we expected, I think it's already failed. Not as a game, but failed to bring forward the next evolution in the genre. Like, the first Diablo, it was the first action RPG. Its evolution, its step forward was that it was originally intended to be a turn-based game. And they decided, no, that's been done. We're gonna do it real time. And they created the genre with that. Like, it's not something that you could expect. You can't predict that they're gonna take this massive leap in changing the rules, right? And then Diablo 2 took things even further. Well, how did Diablo 2 change things? I mean, they improved on a lot of things, but in what way did they truly evolve it? It could be maybe with the multiplayer functionality, with having like these seamless in what way did Diablo 2 further evolve the genre? You can argue that maybe Diablo 1 was like the first step into defining the action RPG genre, and then Diablo 2 finished perfecting it. So, like, given that Diablo 2 basically perfected it, or really finished establishing the tentpoles of what defines an action RPG, pretty much every action RPG since then has just been a refining of that infrastructure. It's like taking the skeleton and maybe adding some things and polishing some things, but it's not been something completely new. Well, mind you, we are seeing some games that are like games like Pagan Online, for instance, with their, even Kill Squad, with their like instance-based gameplay. They're attempting to either create a new genre or revolutionize the action RPG genre. I don't think that's the next step. While I don't hate what they're doing, there's certain flaws with their formula that need to be worked out. But I like that they're trying. I like that they're not just trying to make another good action RPG. Not that I don't like good action RPGs, but to see it brought forth and evolved. And that's the thing with evolution. Like, you don't know it until it happens, kind of thing. Like, yeah, that's it, Oh, let's see chat here. Hey, cheers, Quarry. Enjoy your dinner, buddy. Russian dude, what's up, man? How you been? A Diablo style, something in the frame of Darksiders could be cool. Nemesis saying, and Brevik implemented the real time within one night. Wow, look at that. Wasteless Python. If Diablo 4 does happen to release, what do you expect the game to bring to us fans? Also hope everything is well with the family. Thanks, Python. Yeah. What do I expect the game to bring? I guess what I hope is what I expect. What I hope it'll bring. What I hope that Diablo Next, aka Diablo 4, would bring is healing to the community. I hope that it'll bring back Diablo 2 fans that gave up on Diablo 3. I hope that it'll carry over Diablo 3 fans. I hope that it's going to pay homage and respect to the old games while still evolving the genre and not just being like Diablo 2 and better graphics. I hope it takes aspects of Diablo 2 and Diablo 3 and even Diablo 1, all the best aspects of those games, bringing them forward and introducing even new aspects as well. I guess that's the shortest way of answering that, yeah. Turkinol saying Diablo 2 is still considered kind of the gold standard. Yeah. A lot of improvements have been made in the genre since Diablo 2. Like, there's a lot of things that we can go back to Diablo 2 and fix today. It wasn't a perfect game, but for its time, it was really something else. So objectively, Diablo 3 compared to Diablo 2, if they both released today, I would say Diablo 3 is the better game, but Diablo 2 in its time was a better game than Diablo 3 in its time. Secret saying, for me it was the skills, the fact that you can choose how to build your character to separate you from others. Nem saying, remembers Brevik, so I sat down on a Saturday afternoon and in a few hours I had it running in real time. Look at that, like, it's crazy. Just a few hours of work, one afternoon of work, created a new genre that has gone on to live for like 20, 25 years? Crazy. Alright, Nemesis's question here. Question about anything. Okay, I have this Excel file at work that quite frequently crashes Excel when trying to save or save as. Any solutions? Got me more or less rage quitting work today, Kappa. Excel crashes when trying to save. Are you trying to save to cloud? Are you saving locally or to cloud? I did say it's an Ask Me Anything. What is this? Oh, and Brevik voted against making it real time? Oh, wow. Oh, wow. On to our last Patreon question here from Iggy. Assuming unlimited budget and time, what kind of twists or other features would you like to see in a next-gen ARPG? Ooh. Unlimited budget and time. Tons of cinematics. I love the 3D cinematics. Like for the campaign, I want to see tons of amazing cinematics. I think, and so this, I suppose this is sort of now answering my thoughts on things that a lot of people have been trying to ask over and over here. It's possible that the way forward for the ARPG includes absorbing some form of MMO elements without necessarily going full on MMO. And I think it has more so to do with community elements. And I think harnessing the power of the community. I think in Diablo 2, the community was one of the game's strengths. And part of that came in the form of trading. Having trading, despite it being an activity that I absolutely hated in Diablo 2, was something that helped build and strengthen and retain a community. It made you interact with other players in a meaningful way. And what they actually wanted to do, that they didn't have time to do, was create something called BattleNet Town for Diablo 2, which would have been a town hub, where you boot into, like, instead of a BattleNet lobby, it would be a map, a town, and your lobby would be like just walk around and seeing people. I think expanding on the community features would help create a strong community, and a strong community will help keep your game alive and popular. So how do you do robust community features? It could be guild halls, it could be some kind of faction system where you either join the powers of hell or the powers of Hevelin. Hevelin, yeah. Powers of heaven or the power of the Nephilim. I got a portmanteau of heaven and Nephilim. Hevelin. And having that somehow affect, like there's some kind of like overworld, some kind of struggle that happens that even if you don't have to like partake in PvP to somehow affect your faction standing. I think actually Warhammer 40k Inquisitor Martyr was trying to do something like that. I didn't get to really follow, but they might have gone a little bit too deep with it, a little bit too lore heavy, and like making the actions of whatever unlock what story path happens next, which sounds really cool and all, but not everyone's into the lore and story. Those of us who are, it's like, yeah, we eat that stuff up, but like the vast majority of players who log in on a daily basis, they don't care for that. So it has to be something much more cerebral, much more, just much simpler, much more evocative. So it could be like tied to certain in-game buffs or bonuses or something. Yeah, Christopher. Either crashes on HDD as well as network folder. Huh, okay. That's bizarre. Did you try doing a repair on your Microsoft Office? Are you able to save other documents fine? Is it just the one document? But yeah, so we've run through our Patreon questions. So anyone in chat, if you have any further questions, happy to answer them. I'll give a moment there for people to reply. The weird thing is, it's just that file. Have you tried renaming it? Have you tried doing a save as under a different name? That's bizarre. Wasteless Python asking, have you ever played Elder Scrolls Online? If so, what is your opinion on the game? Do you think a Diablo game like ESO would ever be in consideration? So, ESO is an MMORPG, is my understanding. If I played it, I tried it super briefly in beta. MMORPGs aren't really my thing. I've tried a lot of them in the past, not too many recent ones. They just kind of lose me after a while. But if ESO is a game that is competing with World of Warcraft, I don't imagine that they would make a Diablo game that will compete with World of Warcraft. Because they would be cannibalizing their own audience. So if they were planning, and at some point in the past, they were planning to sunset WoW and spin up another MMO. They canned that, and they're just going through. Then they're still going strong with WoW. And nowadays, the MMORPG genre isn't as popular anymore. Like, there are a couple big names, but like WoW is basically one of the biggest, if not the biggest name that remains in the genre. I'd be pretty surprised if they try to spin up a Diablo full-on MMO that would compete with WoW. Like when they were making Overwatch, Project Titan as an MMORPG, it was sort of distinct enough in that it was like sci-fi and whatever, but like Diablo, there's going to be a lot of overlap between Diablo and WoW thematically. Some might argue like Diablo just feels like one area within WoW. Like, it's WoW, but with fewer class choices, or fewer race choices, I think some people would just see it that way. Oh man, that sucks, them. What if you try to import the file into Google Docs? Yeah, it's an XLS file, right? But you can't save it. So how do you even have it still open? Huh. What if you just copy paste everything into a Google Doc, and then download the Google Doc and open it in Excel? I don't know. I don't work in Excel much. I work in Google Docs a lot. I used to use a bit of Excel back in the day. But now I'm all on the cloud. All right, we'll do a last call for questions here, as we're getting close to time. Y'all have been sending in some fantastic questions, by the way. Thanks so much. Christopher saying, which skill system would you prefer for D4? PoE style, or keep it like D3 or more like D2? The skill system that I like the most is from a game called Last Epoch. I've done some YouTube coverage for it. It's in alpha right now. And it can be best described as a blend of Diablo 2 and Diablo 3's system. Every skill has its own skill tree. So you can level up every skill independently, and every time you level it up, you can put a point into its skill tree, which branches in different ways. And along that skill tree, there are nodes that are like runes in Diablo 3. So what I like about Diablo 3's skill system is the runes that change the way a skill behaves, right? Different elemental type, different attack type. I think that's really cool. What I like about Diablo 2's system is that feeling of investing into a skill tree. As RPG fans, we like that. We like the putting points into things and feeling like we're building up something rather than just, I don't know, like it feels like progression. So Last Epoch system carries over that feeling of progression while also having those meaningful runes. Like you have some runes that are less interesting, nodes. But like you can put multiple points into a node and it might like as well change the skill completely. It's really cool. PoE system is unique in that the skills are carried in gems on gear. But I feel that's very much a PoE thing. I don't know that I would want to see that in other games. I'm okay with it in PoE, but I don't believe like that is the way forward for all ARPGs forever now. Gotcha, Nem, yeah. Google Sheets are much simpler. Off topic of ARPG, you played any 7 Days to Die lately? No. It's been a long time. We tried it ever since like the last, well, maybe there's been other patches since the last alpha version. We didn't like the changes and we haven't played since, unfortunately. How about you? How have you been enjoying it? Wasteless saying, at what age did you get into the mindset of gaming and want to make that your main hobby? That's a good question. My first gaming experiences were on Super Nintendo. And I played it sometimes, but it definitely wasn't my main hobby. I think it's when I got into PC gaming, around 8 years old is when I started. And then I'd say by like maybe 12 or so, like when the Diablo 2, StarCraft, and Unreal Tournament era of games, that's when it became my main hobby. I don't know if there's anything that really like... I don't know what made me want to make that my main hobby. I just found it fun, I guess. I suppose as well, you know what, it was probably also tied to like, okay, well, we're growing up, we're not playing like tag and our little kid games anymore, so what do we do now? And I guess just it turned out to be video games. Because what else was I gonna do? What else is there to do as a kid? I don't know, what do kids even do? Yeah, same here, Nem. Verax saying top 3 still supported hack and slash action RPGs right now in my opinion. So in no specific order, Diablo 3, Path of Exile, Grim Dawn. Now I'm saying the gems I like, not the passive tree though. The gem system for PoE is very interesting. But again, it feels like very PoE. And I don't know that, like I'd want all ARPGs to have that. Awesome, Russian dude. Cool, cool. Yeah. Just gonna check to make sure that we haven't got any new questions posted in the meantime that we may have missed. Let's see here. No, none there. We got those 5 answered. And what about here? Not gonna hear. That over there. Yeah, pop that over here. And yeah, that should do it. So, Time Quest. Yes, surprisingly still being supported. Good call, Nem. All right, so that's gonna be our Q&A, folks. Thanks so much for coming by. Thanks so much for submitting your questions. Thanks so much for your support. We'll see you in the next time. So have yourselves a great rest of your evening, day, morning, whatever time you happen to be watching this. Bye-bye.